Cowboys, Brian Shottenheimer. Boy, he is very fired up about this season. He doesn't care about the 7-10 mark last year. Schottenheimer believes they're going to be so good that teams are going to come and poach their coaching staff in the offseason.
We look for opportunities for the younger coaches to get up in front of position groups and lead meetings and do things, and we give them projects all the time because we're going to win. And when we win, our coaching staff is going to get rated and people are going to come after our coaches because we're going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to push back on that. I don't think that's going to happen.
So you know what the joke is going to be all season. Brian Schottenheimer's initials are BS. And it sounds like everything coming out of his mouth is pretty much that. I mean, Colin, their offensive coordinator is a gentleman named Clayton Adams. He was an offensive line coach in Arizona last year. Now, their DC you're probably familiar with. A fellow by the name of Eberflus, who was a good DC in Indy. And then he was a head coach in Chicago. And how did that work out? I'm spacing.
No, it's I think this is, and I think let's go back to why the Cowboys are in the dilemma they're in. Mike McCarthy chose to leave the franchise. That should not be lost on anybody. Mike McCarthy left the Cowboys, and he left them in somewhat of a lurch, which I'm sure Jerry Jones is bitter about. But just why would Mike McCarthy leave this franchise? And I don't know what Mike made, but probably $7-8 million a year, somewhere about that, in a state with no income tax. Why would he leave? He would leave because he didn't like what he saw. He knew Jaden Daniels was going to be a problem, so he would have a quarterback deficit, and he knows Philadelphia's roster, he's got about 4 guys that can start on it. Yeah. This whole Cowboy situation goes back to, ask yourself this, how many 50-plus-year-old head coaches making $7 to $8 million a year with a huge brand opt to leave? That doesn't happen that does not happen in the NFL. This situation is much more dire than anybody wants to acknowledge in Dallas. Mike McCarthy chose to leave. Doesn't work that way. When's the last time that happened? It's going to get ugly. Dude, it's going to get ugly in Dallas. J-Mac with the news.
Yeah. I mean, Colin's 100% right here. I feel some Cowboys fans are going to try to make something up and be like, oh, no, they didn't want Mike McCarthy. I mean, they did. It was widely reported that they did. And Mike McCarthy wasn't happy with kind of the contract negotiations and, what he was being offered. And he was like, okay, I'm gone. And the reality is like Colin what he's saying is 100% right. Like, you're a coach. Mike McCarthy has already been let go with Green Bay. Like, he knows that he's not like the king of the mountain where he can just get any job that he wants. And he was just like, no, I'm good. I mean, many other coaches would have been like, I'm taking this because it's a massive amount of money. I mean, like, let's be real here. It is Dallas. It's a massive brand, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, no, like, this is not the right move for me. And that is pretty telling. And then when you hear stuff like this, like, guys, listen, I, to a degree, give some of these coaches, some grace with some of the things that they say out loud, because I recognize, the more and more I watch these clips and listen to other people talk, the more and more I realize and accept that, like, not everybody has the ability to navigate, public speech in a way, right? It's something that I'm, again, Colin's great at. I think I'm pretty good at. Nick Wright is great at. It's its own talent in its own right. And just because you're an amazing coach, just because you're an amazing quarterback, an amazing basketball player, whatever it may be, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to navigate a mic very well. And so I do try to give them like a little bit of grace in there, because it's just, but like at the same time, like sometimes I do have to judge something at face value. And sometimes I try to read between the lines a little bit and be like, okay, well, what is he actually trying to say? What's the actual story here? And something like this, though, is just kind of fundamentally nonsense. And it's not like Schottenheimer, like, how old is he? Yeah, he's 51 years old. So it's not like he's like a young, up-and-coming 38-year-old coach or something like that, 40-year-old coach. Like, then it's like, yeah, okay, he's got very limited experience. Like, this is a 51-year-old man. And it's just like, it's because again, I already hear the counter to this. Well, he's being confident in his team. He's pumping everyone up and this or that. And it's like, I got news for you. Like, that doesn't happen in the press conferences. Okay? It just doesn't. Like, it happens on the field, in the locker room, in the meetings. Like, that's when the players are really like absorbing everything. The random players on the team aren't like, oh, do you hear what coach said when he was doing his press conference? Like they're not really talking about that unless like something legitimate happens. Like that's not when the pumping up and speaking something into existence. Like it's just not happening. It's really not. So it's just something like this is just like you sound dumb. You really do. You sound silly. It sounds absurd. We're going to win, and when we do, our staff will get rated. We got other coaches doing projects and stuff. Like even when he talks, he's talking like he's doing something that is like so pristine, so elite, so special, so different. Like he's literally trying to reinvent the wheel. Like he did that when he rearranged the locker room or whatever. And he's like, and I told everyone, why are we doing this? Because it's a new year. And it's like, oh, it's a new year. Oh, it's a new year. Oh my God, yes. Like he thinks like he really is just dropping wisdom. And it's just like, oh. And he should have his own confidence. He needs to have his own confidence, but it's just like, man, that's why it's okay to be grounded. And when you actually have confidence in yourself, true confidence, like you don't project that. Sean McVay doesn't project that. Andy Reid doesn't project that. When you actually have confidence, when you have that experience. I just watched the other day, and I love when he does this. John Middlecoff. He is obviously an incredibly he knows football better than I do. He was a scout, has played a higher level than I ever did. And so it's just like, I think he did, at least I assume. But, obviously incredibly smart, works with Colin. He knows ball, clearly. He knows ball more than the vast majority of people, quite frankly, who are probably watching this video. And again, I'm including myself here, so no digs at you. And he he always admits when he doesn't remember the name of a player. Like he was just talking about the Minnesota Vikings, and he went through the wide receivers, and he's like, Justin Jefferson and Addison, and he was like, and who's that other wide receiver? Naylor. He's like, I'm not in football season right now, and he just like goes with it. And I'm so happy he does it because I forget names all the time. But there's no fear of people going to be like, what a clown. You don't even, you're talking about a team that you don't even know. Like, believe me, because I get comments like that. Lots of people get comments. It's like, if you mess up someone's name or if you just don't say something perfectly, people are like, the first thing people say is like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't even watch the games. You don't watch the teams. You don't know this team. Like, it's like one of the quick, like, jumps at someone. And for him to have the confidence to be like, I can't even think of the other wide receiver on this team that I'm literally talking about right now. And it doesn't mean I'm dumb. Doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. Doesn't mean that I never knew his name. It just is like acknowledging like, I can't remember every single person's name for every single team in any given moment. I can't remember the entire roster, all the college players, new draft picks, every single OC, DC, quarterback coach, head coach, owner, the stadium. Like I can't remember everything. The coach that was there 2 years ago. It's just you can't keep it all in your mind in any given moment. It's hard. That's why the guys on TV have like entire teams of people, feeding them notes even in their ear when they mess up someone's name. Someone's like, no, it's Reed, not Cheese, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, and it's nice when you have that confidence, and it's something that I was very insecure about. And then I've talked about this before because I mess up names all the time. And I was just like, I got to just go with it. Like, that's just, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to live in fear of that. If I make a mistake, people are going to be like, aha, see, you've just revealed yourself. You don't know what you're talking about. And to see him just casually do it, I'm like, I find that inspiring. And again, it's authentic confidence. And it's what I try to bring to the table. And I also will authentically admit when I'm like insecure or I lack the confidence in a moment, and it's just like, because there's lots of times if I, just to stick with the name example, is if I'm thinking of someone's name, I'm like pretty confident I know it, but in the moment I'm like insecure about it. I'm like, wait, like Anthony Davidson, AD, like, and I obviously know who AD is. I've watched him his entire career. I'm like, but in the moment when you're recording, you're like, Anthony Davidson? It's like, what the heck is it again? And you can't think of it. It's just like it is. And so it's just like, I'm just going to say AD right now. I'm just going to stick with AD, And then I do that. I do that a lot with lots of various names, and I run with it, and I admit it. And it's like you can see when someone is kind of projecting confidence, and they're trying to speak it into existence, and it's like that's actually coming more from a place of insecurity. I mean, it really is. It really is. I mean, think about one of the biggest complaints that you get if you ever talk to any women out there, any women who talk about like, oh, you know, what are some bad first dates you've gone on? Man, like 9 out of 10 times, they're going to tell you a story about a guy who is projecting so much. Yeah, I make all this money. I do this. Yeah, so I just got promoted at this job and did this and that. And it's like, yeah, you want to go to this restaurant and like an expensive restaurant. Like it's so much projection. It's not actually just like, yeah, man, I'm just a person trying my best out there. Like it's there's a difference between authenticity. And I'm always skeptical of someone who doesn't bring the authenticity. I really am. But I, like I said, though, I also give grace to people who don't necessarily have that confidence just yet either. Or they just might not be good in front of a mic, especially in the beginning. He has to feel like he's under tremendous pressure right now. I mean, he's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. This has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest opportunity of his entire life. And the stakes could not be higher. You win with Dallas. It's like, you know, he's knighted, he's kinged, he's crowned. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and the amount of money is life-changing. And so that's not lost on me at all. But it's like, you know, that's why you got to be careful who you hire as well. And it's like, I'm not going to the extreme where I'm just saying, oh, see, this is proof that this guy is going to be awful and a clown and this or that. But like, you know, it is a weird look before you really do much of anything to pretty much just say, we're going to win so much, they can't stop us. And they're going to rate our coaching staff like that's how much we're going to win. And it's like, dude, I mean, like, look at the Chiefs, look at the Ravens, look at the Eagles, look at what the Commanders just did overnight. Like, it's like, can we relax here? I mean, again, I know you're trying to instill confidence. And that's why it's like, if you want to give that speech to your other coaching staff to fire them up and motivate them, I'm all for that. Like, I really am. If I'm in that room with him and I'm like, I don't know, some position coach, like some guy who's like up and coming, and he's like, guys, we're gonna win so much, we're gonna go for it, this, that, like you're not even gonna be part of my staff anymore because that, you know, you're gonna be getting jobs all over the country. Like, that would motivate me, that would inspire me. I would be excited by that. I would be pumped. But it would also have to be real, and I would have to feel like you're speaking the truth, and I'd have to feel that that's actually realistic. Because if it kind of reveals it as it's just words and it is just hype, it makes me want to listen to you less now. Because I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, you start to filter then what you're hearing. Like, those things have to really be built off of, like, reality, not just kind of hopes and dreams. So it can be motivating to a degree, but there has to be some reality to it. And again, do it privately, not necessarily publicly. So it's just a weird one. And then, and I'm seeing this clip on the same day that I saw Dak Prescott talking about, you know, wanting to win a Super Bowl and all of that, and talking about his legacy and whatnot. And it's just like, you know, the stuff that always comes out during the offseason for the Cowboys is it's always weird. It just is. I'm not trolling Cowboys fans, but after the Eagles won, I remember Dak was at some sort of, like, I don't know, charity event, and he's like, you know, it's weird to say this about the team that just won the Super Bowl, but like, check the record, we played them pretty good. And it's just like the Eagles have been to more Super Bowls than Dak Prescott has playoff wins since he's been drafted. It's like, just maybe don't try to pretend like you've been on the same level as the Eagles, because you haven't. So you play them close in division. Newsflash, almost every divisional team plays each other pretty close. Have the Raiders been close to the Chiefs for the last decade? I don't think so. And yet they literally beat them a year ago, and last season, you know, had that win until the fumble. I mean, the Broncos beat them with Russell Wilson. Were they close to winning a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson and Sean Payne? No, I don't think so. They didn't even make the playoffs. So it's just like, you know, like, just because you play a team pretty good in division, like, what is that? That happens all the time. The Browns beat the Ravens. Is Jameis Winston as good as Lamar Jackson? I think we know that answer. So it's just kind of, you know, just like, talk less. Like, seriously. I mean, that really is. And the truth is it does start with Jerry, because Jerry's like the one that's just like always going on and on and on and on with this. It's always the same stuff. And to be fair, like, I think Dak is a total grown up and mature. I think that was not the best thing for him to say. I don't think he meant it in like any intense way, but it's kind of like, you're also an experienced quarterback at this way. Like, where your words, where they go after spoken. But just, I don't know, man. It's like, again, do you hear the Chiefs saying this? Do you hear the Eagles saying this? Do you hear the Ravens? Do you hear the Bills? Like, do you hear the teams that have consistently won over the years say things like this? Do you hear the Rams saying this? No, never. Do you hear Tom Brady and Bill Belichick ever say this? No. So if the teams that have consistently been winning Super Bowls and going to conference championship games year after year aren't making statements like this, why do you think you should? But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Dallas Cowboys? Brian Schottenheimer. We're going to win. When we do, our staff will get rated. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.